Hey folks, wanted to do a video off the cuff once again talking about both the movie and the book, The Last Temptation of Christ, because it was such an important thing for me. My experience, my relationship to the story was the movie when it came out in 1988, I think. A little backstory on me: I grew up devout Catholic, loved it, loved Jesus. He was my hero. Still at that point, I was in high school, and you hear some of the controversy. This movie is blasphemy, and it depicts a scene where Jesus has sex with Mary Magdalene. And what I heard at the Catholic church I go to, they weren't blasting it. The pastor, the priest, whatever you call him, deacon. No, he wasn't a deacon. Whatever. The priest was talking about the movie and saying, "Well, it's from what I hear, it's not a very good movie, and so it's better just maybe to ignore it," kind of thing. But for me, from what I'd heard from others and whatever information and stream was coming to me at that time, was that it's just blasphemous and it's disrespectful to Jesus. And man, I gotta tell you, it broke me. I cried. I was so upset. How could someone do that? Slap in the face to this great man who I love. And felt very was vehemently opposed to the whole concept. Hated it. I didn't understand why they would do that. A few years pass, and I at Camelot Records, I think, in one of those mall CD and record stores, and they've got little selections up there available on headphones to listen to. You can kind of sample these different albums. One of them was The Last Temptation of Christ, and at that moment I'm like, I'll check it. Why? Because it was Peter Gabriel that did it, and I really like Peter Gabriel. I love him now. Back then I simply really liked him. So I gave it a shot, and that opened the door. The music was beautiful. It moved me. It was profound. It was amazing. It was just different. It took me to a spiritual place. And I'm looking at the track listings: In Doubt, Open, The Promise of Shadows, With This Love. I mean, internally I started to think maybe I need to give this movie a chance. It wasn't, an insult. And it's done out of respect. This is a great story. What have you. And a few years pass, and there's like the director's cut, or it's the narrated version on AMC or one of those movie channels. I think I came in halfway, but I gotta say, I was hooked right away, and I saw the respect and the love and the study of this character and what that must have been like, and his experience and his doubts, and imagine, it just made me open up to a new concept of Jesus, who maybe isn't someone who knows absolutely that he's God, that he's safe, and has no temptation, no fear, because that's kind of what I got from church experience. Just a perfect, loving, fearless, and to me, on some level, that concept of Jesus, I would question, well, what's the big deal about dying on the cross if you know that you're safe, if you know that you're God? Trade my life for the rest of the world, absolutely, if I know I'm going to be safe anyway. It's a meaningless sacrifice. And this movie puts a new human spin on Jesus. And that's the crux of the controversy and what the book is about. Jesus was wholly God and wholly 100% man. How could that be? And from church, you're constantly given just that Jesus is God. He's perfect in every way. Never guiltless, no sins. Just a perfect, shining, perfect thing. And we're supposed to follow that example. And that's why no one follows that example. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not an exaggeration. No one does. That's not attainable for a human being. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is a more honest portrayal of what Jesus' life must have been. It wasn't all that fun. It was suffering. That he's got to criticize, the very religion and society around him and say, no, this is bullshit. And that being Judaism. He didn't use that word. But challenge the establishment, the hypocrisy, and the idea that the chosen few and the money collectors and all of it. And that's not a fun life. And sure, he had doubt. And I think without the doubt, then the sacrifice is meaningless. It's meaningless. If you know already the future, that you're safe, that you're God, and you can do all these magic tricks, then that's not such an impressive sacrifice. And I'll tell you, from my own life, it's a profound experience to think that you're about to die. You've got 3 days left, because the universe gives us signs, right? And I've had those signs, and think, wow, damn, I haven't had a child yet, and to realize, wow, all my ancestors are counting on me to have this, to keep the story going, to pass on my genes, and all my potential descendants are counting on me. And guys, that's heavy. I don't know if that really hits you from what I've told you, but for me, it was profound, and to the point where I just need to pass on my genes. I wasn't going to rape anybody, but I needed to find someone to reproduce with. And then you see stories about that too, like Star Trek. There was an episode where Spock had the calling to go and reproduce, that mating season. It drives him mad. Schizophrenia. And if you look at a lot of the classic stories, like The Last Temptation of Christ, and on it goes, and you see it's the same story over and over again, but things like Donnie Darko, The Truman Show, 12 Monkeys, Vanilla Sky, I could rattle out The Dark City, I could rattle off dozens more. Describing schizophrenia, really, it's a retelling of the same story. And then you have the recognition that you are a part of the story. It's no accident that story is there. It's no accident that you found it. It's no accident that it resonated with you, that it stuck with you. But I just come full circle. Love the movie, and it made Jesus way more relatable to me. Someone I can relate to and say, yeah, that's how I feel, and I respect the suffering you went through. And then that brought me to the novel a few years later, and I'll say it's my all-time favorite book, hands down, for its emotional impact, for how it made me connect to that man, Jesus. It's beautifully written, and in terms of the controversy about Jesus having sex with Mary Magdalene, again, from what I've been through, if you feel like you're about to die and you haven't, it hits you. And yeah, so he imagined, I can save myself from my fate. I can, his guardian angel, right, Satan, comes to him on the cross and says, you don't have to do this. You don't have to die for the world. Just go have a baby. That's all you got to do. You'd be like every other man on the planet. And he fantasizes. He goes off into a dream about what that'd be like to have a baby with Mary Magdalene and other women. And he thinks this is the way. This is the way of God. And ultimately, down that path, what happens is the world is just disintegrating around him. And Judas comes to him near his deathbed. He's dying, or he's certainly near the end, and Judas is criticizing him. Family and children and wives, that's That's for men. That's not for God. And that's where you screwed it up. And I won't, no spoilers here. Um, yeah, love the book, love the movie, and it's for everyone. You can be Catholic and atheist, um, and you still, I think, get a lot out of that book. It's a story of really all of us. We all struggle. We all question. We all search for God. We all have fear. We all have doubt. We all have a deep-seated instinct to make babies. Otherwise, the story doesn't continue. The universe is here because we keep having sex and keep having babies, and that's heavy. Again, it's profound. It's like I'm overusing that word, but think about that. Yeah, man, I hope some of you read it and dig it. And on a side note, that's why I have to tell my story now, things I've been through. And then you recognize the joke. It's the same story over and over again, and it's cool. You're part of the story. I think we all love you. We're all connected across space-time. That's how it works. Just take a deep breath. Drink some water. It's cool. Bye.